Today I'm going to talk to you about The Yellow Wallpaper. The Yellow Wallpaper is a short story written by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, first published in 1892. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, or Charlotte Perkins Stetson, was an American feminist, lecturer, author, and publisher. She was a leading theorist in the women's movement in the United States. I said before that Perkins Gilman belonged to the women's movement. Actually, as a separate approach to literature, feminist criticism was not inaugurated until late in the 1960s. But behind it there are 2 centuries of struggles for women's social and political rights. It is important to highlight that there is not one feminist criticism or feminism, but rather there are multiple feminisms which share some basic concepts. One of its premises is that Western civilization is a patriarchal one, that is to say, male-centered, and that it is organized to subordinate women to men in all cultural domains. The story is about a woman's journey into madness. The anonymous protagonist narrates her story in intervals on her own secret journal. She is anonymous because we never get to know her name. The presence of a first-person narrator and a character vocalizer helps to create an intimate scene and allows us to get into the mind of the protagonist. It certainly wouldn't have been the same if we'd had an omission narrator or an external vocalizer, since we wouldn't have been able to really feel the protagonist's feelings so vividly. Those feelings of madness, solitude, despair. Let's talk about the genre. Although The Yellow Wallpaper is a short story and was initially considered to be a horror story, we now recognize it as an early feminist work. We can also name the late Victorianism movement here, which emerged by the late 1870s, opposing to the repressive aesthetic and the principles of Victorianism. One of the characteristics of this movement is a more certain realism and the re-examination of the institution of marriage and traditional relations between the sexes. Social structures oppressing women were a common theme. All this is shown in the story, and Perkins Gilman was clearly trying to make a stand about this. There are not many characters in this story. First we have the protagonist, a woman whose name is never mentioned. She is a mentally ill woman married to a doctor, John. The fact that her name is never mentioned could contribute to an idea of universality. She could be any woman. And it also adds up to this idea of criticizing women's role in marriage and in that society in general, how women were treated and mistreated actually, and how marked their role was. Not having a name also shows how little she is recognized. Actually, John never calls her by her name. He says, "Dear, my darling, bless her little heart," but he never really says her name. Then we have John, the protagonist's husband. He's a physician and he prescribes resting to cure the affliction of the protagonist. Then we have Jenny. She's John's sister and she's the one who handles the house in replacement of the protagonist who, because of her illness, cannot do that. We can identify 3 themes in The Yellow Wallpaper: mental illness, the role of women in the institution of marriage, and the binary pair reality versus imagination. Throughout the story we can see how the protagonist's illness advances as she goes losing her mind. It is interesting to see how her husband, a physician, deals with her illness and how he disregards what she feels as something minor. He confines her to a room and prescribes her to rest. It is ironic how this resting cure actually leads to the worsening of her condition. The writer presents a critique of the institution of marriage at the time, showing how women were downgraded to a passive role. Instead of taking care of the house and children, being daughters and wives and mothers, and depending on and obeying their husbands. In the story we can even see how John infantilizes his wife, talking to her as if she was a child. He says, "What is it, little girl? Don't go walking around like that, you'll get cold." The boundaries to this binary pair are blurred in the story, since the protagonist hears, sees, and even smells things that may not be real. The protagonist's depiction of a woman and then women in the wall is quite vivid and realistic, though it's all actually in her mind. So, all in all, I really enjoy this story. It's thrilling, breathtaking, and it keeps you hooked all the time. And I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending really made my head stand on end. I fully recommend it.